This is my audience, and good afternoon. This is my informative speech for TCC Distance Learning, and I'm going to talk about SQ3R today, which is a study tool that helps retention and comprehension in reading. There's a Harvard study that was done on reading. This doesn't relate to SQ3R, but it is important to the information that I'm going to be talking about. Dr. Perry was a director at the Study Center of Harvard, and he took 1,500 students and in 20 minutes asked them to read over a piece of history literature, and then at the end he gave them an exam, and he asked them to give a summary. They all did well on the exam, and only 15 students were able to give a quality summary on the history lesson. And so his main point there was that students need to know how to make judgments in their reading, not just read. And that's part of what we're going to be talking about with SQ3R. The average student retention rate, which was done by Dr. Robinson in his book Effective Reading, 1962, which also is the person that created SQ3R, says that average students retain 10% of what they normally read at a normal reading pace. And SQ3R, proven through studies, boosts this 20 to 60%, along with some of these things lower down on the pyramid at the higher retention rate percentages. SQ3R, like I just mentioned, is researched and backed by some of the top schools in the nation. Whenever I first studied or looked up SQ3R, I found it from Harvard, MIT, Dartmouth, Stanford. All these places had information for me, and students were using them at those schools. And that fact was from Dr. SQ3R of the SQ3R method, 2011. They say even though they say it is very tedious, but it really does work, and that's what we're all about. My speech is going to go over the SQ3R method, which is effective for reading complex subjects and books that are central to class. Breaking this concept down can give us a better understanding, in my opinion, of what this tool can do for us and the importance of careful study. Survey the sections and/or chapter. This is the first letter out of SQ3R where you need to, and this is where you read the headings, subheadings, and pictures within the chapter and then summarize them. A couple of things that brought SQ3R to my attention is things like when I had to study the Chronicles, they wanted me to read 3,000 pages in 2 weeks. Ridiculous. And I learned the scanning method to do that. And then when I had to read Aristotle's Metaphysics, incredibly difficult to read, I learned SQ3R, and it helped a lot because I might as well not have been reading it at all. I wasn't retaining anything with my methods. The next part, the cue out of SQ3R, is write questions for each heading. This is where you take the main points in the headings, turn them into questions, and write them down. And it helps you better understand the concepts by writing them down. That's proven as well. Learning the concept of by using who, what, when, why, where, all the W's, and how. This is the best way to start with the method. When you get more familiar with it, you can start formulating your own questions. Another thing that brought my attention to SQ3R was a cognitive psychology study done by the Psychology Research Center. I don't remember which one, but it had five points that they were studying. The intention and desire to learn, paying close attention to the material as you study, learning in a way that matches your own learning style, the time you spent studying, and what you think about while studying. And what they found out is what you think about while you're studying is the most important part of studying. It's what engraves it deeper in your brain. Next. The first R, read. Read the information one section at a time. Keep your questions in mind that you just wrote down while you're reading. It helps you attach smaller things and add them all together to see the big picture. This is a form of mind mapping, which if you look up is extremely popular in studies and psychology and for studying. Record notes, the second R. Record notes while you read. Take quick keyword notes that summarize facts and important information, like the definitions, the details, the facts, all the things that you would assume would be important information that we've learned. Take those and write those down, but be as brief as possible. Too much information isn't going to help you. And the last R, which is to me, the most important of all of it, is recite the important information. Reading notes and reviewing them out loud or with a reading partner, Don't exactly know why. I'm sure it's in the study, but it helped me more than anything to be able to retain information, recite it back, and understand concepts, because it forces you to put all that up, bundle it, and use it effectively. And so final thoughts, kind of the summary to put this all together. You don't always have to follow SQ3R strictly. Sometimes you just want to take one component or another and use it to make your study methods more effective. All of it may be overkill and too time consuming. Being efficient in school is probably very important to all of us. We just don't realize that there's helpful methods out there. And it provides a lifelong benefit. And to me, that's the most important thing. If you're using this in your everyday life, it makes it more effective and it helps you learn more and remember more that you use in your everyday life. And to me, that's the greatest benefit. Thanks.